a keyboard case can really change the way that you use an iPad and basically turn it into a mini laptop. And in this video, we're going to take a look at the Logitech Combo Touch, which is a super sleek and minimal option for the iPad Pro M4. What's great about the Combo Touch is it uses the smart connector on it, so you don't have to worry about battery life or Bluetooth connectivity or anything like that. It just works as soon as you connect it to the iPad. So you do have this rubberized shell that you have to put on the iPad, which takes just a second to get it snapped into place, and I did find it's a very tight fit. It wraps all the way around except for the cutout for the Apple Pencil on the top of it. The keyboard itself gives great typing performance. You have backlit keys, and you also have a full function row on the top, so you can do things like adjust your screen brightness, the backlighting of the keys, skip songs, play. You can also activate Do Not Disturb mode and adjust the volume as well. So I love that you get a function row with this keyboard. You also get the trackpad on it too, which using a trackpad on iPad OS works really well. It really feels like using an iPad while also kind of feeling like using a Mac. And with iPad OS 26 coming soon and kind of the blurring of the lines between iPad OS and Mac OS, I think keyboard cases like the Combo Touch are going to be even more important than ever. So let's do a quick typing test. So the Combo Touch is very fast to type on, but you don't have a ton of key travel. And when I compared it to the Magic Keyboard, it is a little bit less tactile. I found the Magic Keyboard gave me a little bit better feedback, and I felt like I was able to have a little bit better response. But all the buttons match up very well with Apple's own Magic Keyboard, so this is going to feel almost exactly like using the Magic Keyboard, just a little different, namely due to the fact that this uses a kickstand to support it instead of the cantilever design like the Magic Keyboard, which means this works really well on a desktop surface, but not as well on a lap because the keyboard is kind of extended and you don't have a solid surface and you still have to find somewhere to put the kickstand. So that's definitely a downside to it. But where the Combo Touch really shines is the fact that it still feels like using an iPad whenever you don't use the keyboard, because the keyboard itself actually is magnetically attached. So you can take it off, put it to the side, or if you want, you can also just reverse it and put it on the back of the iPad and then still use the iPad like an iPad. So this is great if you want to draw or use the Apple Pencil on it, because you can hold it and the keys are just out of the way, so you have a solid surface to grip on the back of it. Then whenever you're ready to set this back up again, you just completely detach it, flip the keyboard around, and then magnetically attach it again and put the kickstand out. Also, if you take the keyboard off, the kickstand is really flexible and you can go almost flat on this. So this is great if you want to draw, because you can put the iPad at a low angle and have your pencil readily accessible and very easily draw on it and have a little bit of bounce as well. Or if you want, you can also draw with it at a higher angle and still get pretty support from the back of the kickstand. So I do find the Combo Touch is a pretty versatile case. You can really do a lot with it with the ability to detach the keyboard. Then whenever you're done with it, it just very easily folds up. One thing I did find to be a little annoying is you kind of got to dig your fingernail in to separate this if you have the Apple Pencil on it. Otherwise, that little lip is a great spot where you can open up the keyboard case. There's several different models of the Combo Touch available. In this video, we're actually talking about the one for the iPad Pro M4. If you go to buy this, make sure you're choosing the correct iPad model Combo Touch. Also, they don't recommend getting the Combo Touch if you're getting a nano texture iPad. My guess is because the case kind of goes over the screen, and this could possibly damage the nano texture. So if you got a nano texture iPad, you're out of luck and you need to go for the Apple Magic Keyboard instead. The Logitech Combo Touch retails for $230 if you get it for the 11-inch iPad Pro M4, and the price does go up if you get the 13-inch version of the keyboard. Also, you can get this either in black or gray, and unlike the earlier Combo Touches, this one doesn't have a cloth feel. This has more of the leather feel that reminds me a lot of the Apple Magic Keyboard. And I did find that the back case can really show fingerprints with the black version of it, which is definitely a downside. But other than that, the black one's very smooth, lightweight, and looks super sleek as well. So I really like the Combo Touch. I find it gives very good typing performance, but I do think there's a couple small drawbacks to the Combo Touch. The first one being, I'm not the biggest fan of folio cases. I think for a lot of users, they make a lot of sense, especially if you want to do the drawing, if you want to have the ability to detach the keyboard and to still use it to watch videos or use it maybe with the desktop setup as well. That's another area where the kickstand style case can still be really great. I just prefer the cantilever design of the Apple Magic Keyboard and the fact that it's a lot smoother to type on if you use it on a couch. Another thing I noticed is the trackpad on the Combo Touch doesn't feel quite as good as the one on the Apple Magic Keyboard. I just found the Apple Magic Keyboard one to be a little bit more responsive and the clicking on it feels better. And I did have a couple issues with using the Combo Touch on a couch. Sometimes it just felt like if there wasn't a solid surface underneath the trackpad, it didn't want to respond as well. But this was very hit or miss. Sometimes it wasn't an issue and sometimes it has been an issue with the Combo Touch. So I do think if you're going to use this on a couch a lot, that's when the Apple Magic Keyboard is a better option. But the Combo Touch definitely gives you better protection with the wraparound case that you get on it. And I love that whenever you don't want to use the keyboard, you still have a case on it. And with the Apple Magic Keyboard, if you don't want to use the keyboard, you actually have to completely remove the iPad from it, which is very easy to do with the magnets, but you're not going to have any protection from scratches on the back of your iPad. And with this, you still have full protection for your iPad even when you're not typing on it. So who is the Combo Touch for? I think this is for you if you want to use this with an Apple Pencil a lot, if you want to be able to draw, if you want to be able to use this with and without the keyboard. That's when the Combo Touch makes a lot of sense. It gives you great protection for your iPad while giving you the flexibility of being able to use or not use the keyboard, to put it off to the side, to put it on the back of the Combo Touch. There's just a lot of versatility with the Combo Touch and all the features it has. This is not going to be as good of an option for you if you really care about having the best possible trackpad performance. I think in that case, you need to go for the Apple Magic Keyboard instead, and also go for the Apple Magic Keyboard if you really want to have good performance with using this on a lap. Otherwise, I still think this is a great option for the iPad Pro M4 because you have full protection of your iPad, great typing performance, the function row on the top, the backlit keys, a trackpad. It's just a great keyboard case for the iPad Pro M4. If you got any other questions about the Logitech Combo Touch, leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear them. Like this video, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any upcoming content. If you're interested in buying this or any of my favorite iPad accessories, I do have links to buy in the description below.